Ever wondered about Achilles' untold story? Dive into the secrets of the legendary hero, from his humble beginnings to his epic rise. This sleep-inducing journey unravels his hidden life, chapter by chapter. Subscribe and hit the bell to unlock the mysteries. Chapters: Rise of a Hero, the Trojan War, Fate and Legacy. So you're ready to dive into the legend of Achilles? Imagine a world of bronze weapons glinting under the Aegean sun, a world where heroes were born, not made. This is the world of Achilles, a demigod, son of the sea nymph Thetis and the mortal king Peleus. His story begins not with glorious battles, but with a prophecy that foreshadowed both his incredible strength and his tragic fate. You'll hear whispers of his invulnerability, a gift from his mother, a secret that would both save and ultimately doom him. Picture this: Thetis, desperate to protect her son, dips him in the river Styx, the legendary river of the underworld. This act grants him near immortality, making him invulnerable everywhere except for his heel, the point where she held him. It's a small detail, a seemingly insignificant flaw, yet it holds the key to his destiny. This is where the famous Achilles' heel comes from, a phrase that continues to resonate even today. You'll understand how this one vulnerability shaped his entire life, making him both invincible and vulnerable at the same time. As he grew, Achilles' strength and prowess became legendary. He was trained by the centaur Chiron, a wise and powerful creature who taught him everything a warrior needed to know. He mastered the art of combat, becoming a master swordsman and spearman. His reputation preceded him, whispers of his might spreading across the land. You'll witness his rise to power, his transformation from a boy into a man destined for greatness and tragedy. Get ready to be captivated by his journey. So you've met Achilles, a warrior destined for greatness. But his story isn't just about human strength, it's woven with the threads of divinity. His mother Thetis wasn't just any woman. She was a Nereid, a sea nymph, one of the 50 daughters of Nereus, the old man of the sea. Imagine the power, the grace, the ethereal beauty of a being who dwells in the depths, a creature of myth and legend, a goddess amongst goddesses. This divine lineage shaped Achilles, imbuing him with extraordinary abilities, setting him apart from ordinary mortals. This wasn't just a tale of a mother's love. It was a story about destiny intertwined with the gods themselves. Thetis' connection to the Olympian realm wasn't just a familial one, it was a powerful influence on her son's life. Think about it, she had access to the secrets and knowledge of the gods, and this access profoundly affected Achilles' upbringing, his training, and ultimately the course of his legendary life. She knew the prophecies, the looming shadows of fate that threatened her son, but she also knew his potential. This divine blood coursing through his veins made him more than just a man. You see, being the son of a goddess wasn't just about receiving gifts, it came with its own set of challenges. His destiny was already written, a path paved with glory, but also shadowed by an untimely end. Thetis, knowing this, tried to protect her son, to shield him from the dangers that awaited. But even a goddess's power couldn't entirely avert fate. His divine heritage was a double-edged sword, a source of incredible strength and vulnerability. This divine lineage wasn't just a title, it was the very essence of who he was, shaping his character and his destiny in ways you'll soon discover. A sea nymph, a goddess of incredible power. She knew what fate held for her son. The prophecy was chilling. Achilles, your hero, was destined for unparalleled glory on the battlefield, a legend whispered across generations. But this glorious destiny came with a terrible price. A short, tragically curtailed life. Thetis, desperate to shield her son, tried to cheat fate, attempting to make him immortal. She dipped him in the river Styx, the river of the underworld, making him invulnerable, almost. But there was a catch. A cruel twist of fate. Thetis held him by his heel, leaving that one spot vulnerable. This seemingly small detail would become the infamous Achilles' heel, a weakness that would ultimately seal his doom. Imagine the weight of such a prophecy hanging over you. The knowledge that your life, however glorious, is predetermined to end prematurely. It's a burden even a demigod couldn't easily bear. This prophecy wasn't just a whispered secret, it cast a long shadow over Achilles' life, shaping his choices, influencing his actions. It fueled his ambition, his drive to achieve greatness before his time ran out. Knowing his days were numbered, he sought to leave an indelible mark on the world, to become a legend even death couldn't erase. Every battle, every victory, every act of courage was a defiant stand against the inescapable truth of his fate. So Thetis, fearing the prophecy, made a bold decision. She took young Achilles far away from the prying eyes of the gods and the whispers of fate. She chose a secluded mountain region, shrouded in mist, where the only sounds were the wind whistling through the crags and the distant bleating of sheep. Imagine, you're tucked away in a hidden cave, far from the bustling courts and battlefields, raised amongst shepherds and hearing tales of heroes long past, not knowing the destiny that awaited you. This wasn't a life of luxury. You were raised simply, learning the ways of the shepherds, understanding the rhythm of the land, and developing a strength and resilience that would serve you well in the years to come. The training wasn't formal, but it was brutal. The harsh mountain environment was your gymnasium. You learned to endure hunger, cold, and exhaustion, forging a body and spirit ready for anything. But even in this isolation, Thetis couldn't completely shield you from your destiny. She secretly trained you, teaching you the arts of war, honing your natural abilities with rigorous drills and intense combat exercises. She knew the prophecy couldn't be avoided, only delayed. She hoped that by shaping your skills, she could influence the way you met your fate, perhaps softening the blow, or even guiding you towards a more glorious end. So there she was, Thetis, holding you, her precious son. She knew the prophecy, the looming shadow of a short, glorious life. To try and cheat fate, she carried you to the river Styx, that dark, mythical river separating the world of the living from the underworld. It was a dangerous, sacred place, guarded by fearsome creatures. You were just a babe, but Thetis, driven by a mother's love, was ready to do anything. She dipped you into the inky waters, the cold shocking your tiny body. Legend says that the river Styx grants immortality to those who are fully submerged. But Thetis, in her desperate attempt to protect you, held you by the heel. That one vulnerable point, left untouched by the magical waters, became your infamous weakness. It was a gamble, a desperate act of love, born from fear. Thetis pulled you out, her heart pounding. You were untouched by the ravages of time, except for that one heel. That single vulnerable spot would be the key to your destiny, the source of your ultimate downfall. But for now, you were safe, protected by a mother's love and the near mythical power of the river Styx. So dipped in the river Styx, but not entirely. A vulnerability remained. Your heel, a tiny chink in your otherwise godlike armor. Thetis, heartbroken but resolute, entrusted your upbringing to Chiron, the wisest and most skilled of centaurs. He lived in a secluded grove, a place of both harsh beauty and profound learning. Imagine it, the scent of pine, the whisper of the wind through ancient trees, and the steady rhythm of Chiron's teachings. Under Chiron's guidance, you weren't just trained to fight, you were molded into a warrior. You learned to wield a spear with deadly accuracy, to ride a horse with unmatched grace, and to navigate the treacherous terrain of the mountains. Chiron taught you not just the skills of war, but the wisdom to use them judiciously. He instilled in you a deep respect for the natural world, a strength that came from harmony with nature, not just brute force. But Chiron's lessons went beyond the physical. He nurtured your mind, teaching you music, poetry, and the stories of heroes past. He shaped your character, fostering your courage, but also emphasizing the importance of honor, justice, and self-control. These weren't just lessons, they were the foundations upon which you would build your legendary status. You were becoming more than just a warrior, you were becoming a legend. Chiron, your mentor, had prepared you well. He'd honed your skills, transforming you from a boy into a warrior whose name echoed with the power of the gods. But the whispers of war, the clash of bronze on bronze, were growing louder. News reached your secluded mountain sanctuary. Troy, a city of immense power and pride, had offended the gods. A mighty fleet was being assembled, and heroes from across Greece were summoned to avenge the insult. You, Achilles, were among them. The call to arms resonated deep within you. The glory of battle, the chance to prove your worth, the opportunity to etch your name into the annals of legend, it was a siren song you couldn't ignore. You were no ordinary mortal. You carried the blood of gods within you. This was your destiny, your purpose, to stand against the might of Troy, to fight alongside the greatest heroes of your time, and to shape the course of history itself. Leaving the peaceful solitude of your upbringing, you joined the Achaean army, a force destined to reshape the fate of nations. The weight of expectation settled upon your shoulders, a burden balanced by the thrill of impending conflict. The ships, a vast armada, were ready to sail. The winds howled, urging you onward, towards the legendary walls of Troy, towards the epic struggle that would define your legacy. The clash of bronze on bronze faded into the distant rumble of thunder. You, Achilles, stood on the precipice of manhood, ready to face the world. But you weren't alone. Behind you, a sea of helmeted heads, spears glinting under the Aegean sun, represented something more than just an army. They were the Myrmidons, your loyal, fiercely devoted following, raised alongside you, bound to you by an unbreakable oath of loyalty. These were not merely soldiers, they were your brothers. These men, born of the very earth itself, according to legend, were your kin, forged from the ants of Thessaly. They were swift, relentless, and utterly devoted to you. Their loyalty wasn't born of fear, but of a deep-seated respect for your strength, your skill, and the unwavering justice you embodied. They'd followed you through countless trials, sharing your triumphs and bearing your burdens. They were your shield, your blade, your very lifeblood. Their devotion was a force to be reckoned with, a wall of unwavering support against any foe. They were the embodiment of your might, a testament to the power of brotherhood and unwavering loyalty. You knew, as you looked upon their faces, that you could face any challenge, any battle, with these men at your side. Their loyalty was your strength, their faith, your shield against the inevitable storms to come. You were ready, the world awaited. The spoils of war brought more than just glory. Among the captives, you saw her, Briseis, her eyes the color of the Aegean Sea, a stark contrast to the harsh realities of battle. Her beauty was undeniable, a captivating flame in the midst of the ashes. But you saw more than just beauty. You saw strength, a quiet resilience that mirrored your own. It wasn't a conquering hero's lust, but something deeper, something that resonated with your own wounded spirit. She was a princess, stripped of her title, her home, everything she knew. Yet in her eyes, you saw a flicker of hope, a defiance that refused to be extinguished. It was a shared understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the brutal hand of fate. Slowly, a bond began to form, not of dominion, but of shared humanity, a quiet connection forged in the crucible of war's harsh realities. It was a love born not of conquest, but of mutual respect and understanding. With her, you found solace amidst the chaos, a refuge from the relentless pressure of destiny. Her presence brought a softness to your hardened heart, a reminder that even amidst the brutality of war, there was still room for love, for tenderness, for the simple beauty of a shared moment. It was a brief respite, a precious interlude in the epic saga of your life. But this love, forged in the fires of conflict, would leave an indelible mark on your soul. Undeterred by the beauty of Briseis, Agamemnon, the arrogant leader of the Achaean army, took her as a prize of war. You saw the simmering anger in Achilles' eyes as he witnessed this blatant disregard for the customs of war and the respect due to a warrior. The insult cut deeper than any blade, striking at his honor and his pride. This wasn't just about a woman, it was about the fundamental disrespect shown to him, the greatest warrior among them all. The whispers among the ranks fueled the fire within him. You felt the weight of the injustice, the simmering resentment that threatened to boil over. Achilles, the Invincible, felt utterly betrayed. His fury wasn't just a fleeting emotion, it was a consuming fire, threatening to engulf everything in its path. He brooded, his heart heavy with a rage born of wounded pride and profound disrespect. His mother Thetis, a sea nymph, felt his pain, sensing the storm brewing within her son. You watched as she pleaded with Zeus, the king of the gods, to intervene, to avenge the insult. But Zeus, bound by his own rules and the need to maintain a balance, hesitated. The fate of the Achaean army, and perhaps the course of history itself, hung precariously in the balance, dependent on the rage of one man. The rage that had simmered within Achilles for so long, finally boiled over. You saw the battlefield erupt, a maelstrom of bronze and blood. Patroclus, Achilles' dearest friend, wearing Achilles' armor, charged into the fray, a beacon of defiance against the Trojans. He fought with the ferocity of a lion, a desperate attempt to turn the tide of the battle, to ease the pain of his friend's wounded pride. But Hector, the prince of Troy, was a formidable warrior, and the clash was inevitable. The weight of the battle, the weight of his friend's absence, bore down on Patroclus. You watched as the tide turned. Hector's spear found its mark, piercing Patroclus's heart. The hero fell, his lifeblood staining the dust of the battlefield. The sight was a devastating blow, a turning point that would forever alter the course of the war and the fate of the Achaeans. Imagine the horror, the echoing silence after the clash of steel, before the screams of the fallen. The news reached Achilles like a physical blow. The death of his beloved companion, the one who shared his joys and sorrows, his confidant and friend, ignited a fire within him, a burning rage that consumed all reason. You can feel the depth of his grief, the searing pain that twisted his heart. This wasn't merely a loss of a friend, it was a violation of his honor, a betrayal that demanded revenge. The seeds of his wrath were sown, and a storm of unimaginable proportions was about to break. The world went black. One moment, you were witnessing the brutal clash of bronze. The next, a gut-wrenching silence descended. Patroclus, your dearest friend, lay still, his lifeblood staining the dust of the battlefield. The weight of his death, a crushing blow, settled upon your shoulders. His armor, once a symbol of his strength, now only served as a grim reminder of his loss. You felt the cold grip of despair, a darkness that threatened to consume you entirely. Rage, a burning inferno, erupted from the ashes of your grief. It was a rage unlike anything you'd ever known, a potent cocktail of sorrow and fury. The death of Patroclus wasn't just a loss, it was a violation, a sacrilege that demanded retribution. Hector, the Trojan prince responsible for your friend's untimely end, became the focus of your unyielding wrath. You would avenge Patroclus, no matter the cost. Your heart shattered, yet your resolve hardened into unbreakable steel. The battlefield, once a scene of brutal conflict, now became your personal arena of vengeance. You would not rest until Hector paid for his crime. The cries of the dying, the clash of steel, all faded into a background hum as you focused your every fiber on the hunt for your target. The weight of your grief fueled your every stride, transforming your sorrow into a relentless pursuit of justice. Your heart ached, but your purpose was clear. The roar of the battle was deafening. You watched, heart pounding, as Achilles, a god among men, faced Hector, the Trojan prince. The clash of their bronze weapons echoed across the plain, a symphony of destruction. Each blow was a thunderclap, each parry a desperate dance with death. You felt the weight of the battle, the fear, the hope, all swirling together in a maelstrom of emotion. Achilles' rage burned bright, a furnace fueled by the loss of Patroclus. Hector, though brave, was no match for Achilles' divine strength and fury. He fought with the courage of a lion, but against the wrath of a god, even the bravest heart can falter. You saw the desperation in Hector's eyes, the subtle shift in his stance as he began to tire. The weight of the world seemed to rest on his shoulders, the fate of Troy hanging precariously in the balance. Each swing of his sword was weaker, each parry less certain. The end came swiftly, with a final earth-shattering blow. Achilles' spear found its mark. You watched, breathless, as Hector fell, his mighty form collapsing to the dust. Silence descended upon the battlefield, a heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by the cries of the wounded and the distant rumble of war. The battle for Hector was over, but the war, you knew, was far from finished. The weight of fate, heavy and inescapable, settled upon your shoulders. The dust settled, the cries of the wounded fading into the background. You saw him then, Achilles, his mighty frame slumped against Patroclus's lifeless body. The hero, invincible just moments before, was now broken, his grief a tangible thing, heavier than any bronze armor. His sobs tore through the silence, a raw, visceral expression of loss that shook you to your core. The godlike warrior was just a man, consumed by an unbearable sorrow. His grief wasn't just the sorrow of losing a friend, it was a profound, gut-wrenching agony that ripped through his very being. Patroclus, his closest companion, his confidante, the one who understood him better than anyone, was gone. You felt the weight of his loss, the emptiness that threatened to swallow him whole, the devastating realization that nothing would ever be the same. Days bled into weeks, and the rage that fueled his battlefield prowess was replaced by a paralyzing despair. His legendary strength seemed to wither, his once bright eyes now clouded with a deep, unending sadness. You witnessed the slow, agonizing unraveling of a hero, a testament to the devastating power of grief. His once indomitable spirit was fractured, leaving him vulnerable and broken. The funeral pyre blazed, a monstrous heart of fire consuming Patroclus's body. You watched, your own grief a heavy cloak, as the flames licked at the sky, mirroring the burning rage in your heart. The air crackled with the energy of 1,000 mourners, their sobs a mournful chorus echoing across the Mycenaean plain. The smell of burning wood and incense hung heavy, a bitter perfume marking the end of an era. Days later, the games began. You saw the strongest warriors of the Achaean army compete, their contests a testament to Patroclus's strength and spirit. The thud of fists, the clash of bronze against bronze, the roar of the crowd, all served as a tribute, a desperate attempt to fill the void left by your fallen friend. Each victory felt hollow, a fleeting distraction from the crushing weight of your loss. You watched, a ghost amongst the living, your participation a mere formality. The prizes gleaming bronze armor, swift steeds, and rich tapestries meant nothing. They couldn't replace the laughter, the camaraderie, the unwavering loyalty of Patroclus. The games, meant to honor him, only served to deepen the chasm of your grief. Each event was a reminder of all you had lost. The weight of Patroclus's death still pressed down on you, but the immediate future held a different kind of burden. Hector, the Trojan prince, lay dead, his body a prize of war, a symbol of the conflict that had ravaged the land for years. His lifeless form, once a source of fear and hatred, now represented a potent symbol of power and victory, yet also of the terrible cost of war. You knew what was expected of you. The Greeks, exhausted but triumphant, looked to you for guidance. What would you do with Hector's body? This wasn't just a matter of disposing of a corpse. It was a decision that would shape the course of the war, a powerful statement to both the Trojans and your own men. The fate of Hector's body would speak volumes about your own character and future actions. To desecrate it would be a brutal act, a show of merciless triumphalism, potentially prolonging the conflict. To grant it a proper burial, however, would be an act of unexpected mercy, a gesture that could potentially hasten the end of the war. The decision rested solely on your shoulders, the weight of countless lives hanging in the balance. Your heart wrestled with the fury still burning within, and the cold, hard logic of strategy. The aftermath of the battle was a grim tableau, but a different kind of conflict was brewing. News reached you, a whisper at first, then a roar. Priam, king of Troy, was coming. Not as a warrior, not with an army, but alone, a frail old man, seeking you out in your tent. He wasn't here to fight, to bargain, or to boast. He carried a desperate plea, a father's grief laid bare. Imagine the scene, the air thick with the scent of blood and smoke, the silence punctuated only by the crackling of the dying embers of the fires. Priam, in simple, worn robes, stood before you, the mighty Achilles. He offered you gold, ransoms, anything you desired, in exchange for the body of his son Hector. You saw not a king, but a broken man, a father's heart ripped apart. His plea wasn't just for a body, it was for a shred of humanity in the face of unimaginable loss. You saw your own father in his eyes, the same pain, the same desperate yearning for a lost son. This wasn't a battle anymore. This was raw, unadulterated grief. It was a moment that transcended the war, a testament to the shared human experience of love and loss. So Priam came, not with weapons, but with a plea. He stood before the Myrmidons, a frail king before the might of Achilles' warriors, his heart heavy with grief and the weight of his city's loss. He begged for the return of his son Hector's body, a gesture of unimaginable humility from a proud king. You watched, feeling the weight of the situation, the echoes of battle still ringing in your ears, the scent of death still clinging to the air. This wasn't the glorious victory you'd expected. The Myrmidons, hardened by war, were initially hesitant. Their loyalty to Achilles was absolute, and the idea of returning Hector's body felt like a betrayal. Yet you saw a shift in their expressions as Priam's quiet dignity spoke volumes. The old king's sheer vulnerability, his willingness to humble himself before his enemy, began to chip away at the warrior's hardened resolve. You sensed a change in the wind, a subtle shift from vengeance to something else. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of tense silence, the decision was made. Hector's body, still bearing the marks of battle, was returned to Priam. You watched as the old king, his body trembling with a mixture of relief and profound sorrow, cradled his son's lifeless form. The scene, though filled with sadness, held a strange beauty, a quiet dignity in the face of immense loss. It was a moment of profound human connection, transcending the brutality of war. Imagine, if you will, the shield of Achilles. Not just any shield, but a masterpiece, a canvas depicting the cosmos itself. Hephaestus, the divine smith, poured his skill and artistry into its creation, forging a legend as enduring as the hero it protected. You see scenes of bustling city life, the ebb and flow of human existence captured in swirling bronze. Imagine the detail, the intricate designs, the almost impossibly fine lines depicting everyday life and celestial events. Then there's the celestial sphere, a breathtaking panorama of stars and constellations, captured with such precision that you can almost feel the vastness of the night sky. Hephaestus's skill is evident in the way he captured the movement of the celestial bodies, the dance of the planets, the twinkling of distant stars. It's a testament to the ancient Greek belief that the heavens held a deep connection to human life, their fates intertwined. But it wasn't just beauty. The shield was also a powerful symbol. It represented Achilles' strength, his invincibility, his connection to the gods. It was a testament to his lineage, a tangible representation of his divine heritage. Each scene, Each constellation whispered tales of heroism, of battles won, and of a destiny fulfilled. It was a work of art that transcended mere protection. It was a symbol of a legend in the making. So you've seen the shield, a testament to Hephaestus's skill. But what about the man who wielded it? Picture this. Achilles, not just a warrior, but a force of nature. His strength wasn't just physical, it was a legend whispered on the wind, a terror in the eyes of his enemies. He moved with a grace that belied his raw power, a panther coiled, ready to spring. They say he could bend steel with his bare hands, a feat only gods were believed capable of. Imagine the clash of bronze against bronze, the screams of the dying, and at the heart of it all, Achilles, a whirlwind of destruction, his strength unmatched on any battlefield. His very presence instilled fear, a silent promise of swift and brutal death. His rage was a weapon as potent as his spear, a terrifying storm that swept across the battlefield, leaving a trail of broken bodies and shattered shields in its wake. This wasn't mere brute force, it was controlled fury, honed by years of rigorous training and fueled by a warrior's spirit unmatched in all of Greece. He was a living legend, a testament to human potential pushed to its absolute limit. So his strength was legendary, a whirlwind on the battlefield. But even gods have their flaws, and Achilles was no exception. You see, his mother, the sea nymph Thetis, knew this all too well. Desperate to make him invulnerable, she dipped him as a babe in the river Styx, the river of the underworld. But there was one small detail, a vulnerable spot. She held him by his heel, the only part of his body that didn't touch the magical waters. This, my friend, became his one and only weakness, a chink in the seemingly impenetrable armor of the greatest warrior Greece ever knew. It's a detail whispered through the ages, a secret vulnerability hidden beneath layers of glory and legend. Imagine the weight of that secret, the knowledge that even the mightiest hero could be brought down by a simple wound to his heel. This small detail, this seemingly insignificant vulnerability, would ultimately shape his destiny, a tragic irony that underscores the fragility of even the most legendary figures. It's a reminder that no one, not even a demigod, is truly invincible, so his life was cut short, a tragic end for such a powerful warrior. But even in death, Achilles' legend only grew. His story became a cornerstone of Greek mythology, passed down through generations, whispered around campfires, and sung by bards. You see, his name became synonymous with unmatched strength and unwavering loyalty, a testament to the human spirit's capacity for both greatness and vulnerability. His tale became a powerful symbol, influencing countless artists and writers for millennia. Think about it, his story isn't just about battles and glory, it's about the complexities of heroism, the weight of fate, and the enduring power of a legend. He embodies the tragic hero archetype, someone whose flaws ultimately lead to his downfall, yet whose story continues to resonate with us. Even today, you'll find echoes of Achilles in modern literature, film, and art. His name is still whispered with awe, a reminder of a warrior who transcended mortality. His story is a timeless testament to the enduring power of human ambition, the agony of loss, and the undeniable legacy of a hero who lived, fought, and died with unwavering passion. So you've heard about Achilles' incredible life, his rage, his power, but how did these tales become immortal? Well, that's where Homer comes in. He was a storyteller, a poet, perhaps even a blind one, whose epic poem, the Iliad, cemented Achilles' place in history. It's a story of the Trojan War, and while it's not strictly a biography, it's the most famous and influential account of Achilles' life and death. Imagine the power of oral storytelling in that era, passed down through generations. Then picture Homer crafting the story of Achilles into a masterpiece. He didn't just recount events, he created characters with depth and emotion. He showed Achilles' vulnerability, his hubris, and his devastating power on the battlefield, making him more than just a legend, a complex human character. The Iliad is more than just a war story. It explores themes of honor, glory, and the consequences of rage. Achilles' withdrawal from battle, his grief over Patroclus' death, and his eventual revenge, these are all powerfully portrayed, shaping the way we understand not just Achilles, but the very nature of heroism. It's a story that has resonated for millennia. So Homer's epic poems cemented Achilles' place in legend, but how has he been visually represented over the centuries? You'll find him depicted in ancient Greek pottery, his powerful physique often emphasized, sometimes wielding his spear, other times shown in quieter moments. Think of the vibrant colors and intricate details, a glimpse into the artistic sensibilities of the time. These early depictions often focused on specific moments from the Iliad, capturing the intensity of battle or the weight of his tragic fate. Fast forward to Renaissance art, and you'll see Achilles reimagined through a different lens. Think of powerful, idealized figures, embodying classical ideals of beauty and strength. The focus might shift from the raw brutality of war to the more nuanced aspects of his character, his vulnerability, his love for Briseis. Artists like Raphael and Michelangelo drew inspiration from Homer, but their Achilles reflects the artistic sensibilities of their own era. The dramatic lighting and emotional depth create powerful images. Even today, Achilles continues to inspire artists. You'll find him in paintings, sculptures, and even modern interpretations in film and literature. He remains a potent symbol of strength, vulnerability, and the enduring power of myth. His story transcends time, and his image continues to evolve, reflecting the changing perspectives of each generation that encounters his legend. From ancient pottery to modern cinema, his image is as enduring as the story itself. So you've seen Achilles in Homer, but his story didn't end there. Authors throughout history have revisited the hero, reimagining his life and adding their own interpretations. Think of it, centuries of writers captivated by his rage, his vulnerability, his ultimate fate. They've explored his flaws and his strengths, creating new layers to the legend, sometimes even challenging Homer's account. From the ancient Greek tragedians, who often focused on his tragic downfall, to Renaissance poets who celebrated his martial prowess, each era has added its own perspective. You'll find him in plays, novels, and even modern retellings, each offering a unique lens through which to view the immortal hero. It's fascinating to see how his character has evolved and adapted over the centuries. Imagine reading a modern novel that reimagines Achilles' childhood, exploring his relationship with his mother, Thetis, in a completely new light, or perhaps a play that delves into his inner turmoil, showcasing his humanity beyond the battlefield. These interpretations enrich the original myth, offering new ways to connect with this timeless figure. They show you that even legends are subject to reinterpretation. So you've journeyed through millennia with Achilles, but his legend continues to resonate. Think about modern literature, film, and even video games. You'll find Achilles popping up everywhere, a testament to his enduring appeal. He's not just a historical figure, he's a symbol, an archetype of the flawed hero, eternally battling his own destiny. He's been reinterpreted countless times, his story tweaked and adapted to fit new contexts. Sometimes he's a tragic figure, consumed by his own hubris. Other times he's a symbol of unwavering strength, a warrior embodying unwavering loyalty, even if tragically flawed. You see him reflected in modern narratives, you see him in the characters of modern stories. His tale is a canvas upon which artists and writers continually paint. His vulnerability, his rage, his ultimate mortality, these are all aspects that continue to fascinate us. He's not just a hero, he's a complex character who resonates with our own struggles and triumphs. You might find yourself unexpectedly drawn to his story, a story that transcends time and culture. Think about it, even today his name evokes a sense of power, tragedy, and enduring legacy. So you've seen his rage, his skill, his vulnerability, but let's look at Achilles' life through a different lens, the hero's journey. It's a pattern found in countless myths and stories, and Achilles perfectly embodies it. You've witnessed his call to adventure, the Trojan War. He left his idyllic life, driven by a sense of duty and honor, to fight for the Greeks. This wasn't just a whim, it was a pivotal moment, a step into the unknown that shaped his destiny. Think about his trials and tribulations, the battles, the losses, the betrayals. These were all tests of his strength and character. Each challenge pushed him closer to understanding his own capabilities and limitations. Remember his rage, his impulsive nature. These flaws, often his downfall, are also part of his compelling journey. He wasn't perfect, and that's what makes his story so human, so relatable. And then there's the ultimate sacrifice. His death, a tragic end to an extraordinary life, cemented his place in legend. It's a powerful example of the hero's ultimate test, confronting mortality, accepting fate, and leaving a legacy that echoes through the ages. His vulnerability, his humanity, his flaws, these are what make his legend endure. His journey isn't just about heroic deeds, it's about the human experience of striving, failing, and ultimately leaving an indelible mark. So you've seen his legendary battles, his unmatched skill with a spear, but Achilles wasn't just a godlike warrior. He was deeply human. His vulnerability, his capacity for intense emotion, love, rage, grief, shaped him as much as his strength did. Think about it, his famous rage stemmed from a deep-seated love for his friend Patroclus. That vulnerability, That capacity for profound loss is what made him relatable, even in his godlike power. His relationship with Patroclus wasn't just companionship, it was a bond that transcended the norms of the time. It highlights a side of Achilles that's often overlooked, his capacity for deep, intimate connection. This profound love, this vulnerability to another, fueled his actions and shaped the course of the Trojan War. It's a reminder that even the mightiest heroes have hearts that break. His anger, his relentless pursuit of vengeance, were all born from this vulnerability, this immense loss. It wasn't just blind rage, it was a raw, powerful expression of grief and a desperate attempt to restore what he'd lost. It's a reminder that sometimes our greatest strengths and weaknesses are two sides of the same coin. Achilles' human side, his capacity for love and loss, made him a truly unforgettable character. Imagine the weight of 1,000 eyes upon you, every action scrutinized, every victory dissected. That's what it was like for Achilles. His fame, forged in the fires of battle, wasn't just a source of pride, it was a heavy cloak, a constant reminder of the expectations he carried. You see, the glory wasn't just his, it belonged to his people, to the Myrmidons, to the Achaeans. He was their champion, their shield, and the pressure of that responsibility was immense. Every whispered rumor, every envious glance, every demand for his unwavering strength, it all chipped away at him. He couldn't simply be Achilles, the warrior. He had to be the perfect symbol of Myrmidon strength, of unwavering loyalty, of unparalleled fighting prowess. The burden of maintaining this flawless image was a constant battle, almost as exhausting as the Trojan War itself. It wasn't just about winning battles, it was about living up to an impossible ideal, the constant pressure to perform, to never falter, to remain the invincible hero. It was a lonely existence. Even his closest companions couldn't fully understand the weight he carried. The roar of the crowd, the cheers of victory, they were all just background noise to the relentless hum of expectation. He was a legend in the making, but the process of becoming one was far from glorious. It was a lonely climb to the top of the world, a solitary path paved with the sacrifices of his own humanity. So you've seen Achilles rise to glory, the battles, the bloodshed, the unwavering gaze of the gods. But what about his deepest desires? You see, even a demigod like Achilles felt the gnawing ache of mortality. He witnessed the fleeting nature of life, the fragility of even the mightiest warrior. This awareness fueled a yearning, a desperate search for something beyond the battlefield, immortality. It wasn't just about avoiding death, it was about leaving a legacy, a mark on the world that would endure long after his last breath. Imagine the pressure, the constant awareness of your own finite existence. For Achilles, the weight of his fame only amplified this feeling. Every victory, every act of valor, served as a stark reminder of the inevitable end. He craved a way to transcend this limitation, to etch his name into the very fabric of history, to become more than just a mortal man. This quest for immortality, a human desire as old as time itself, became his driving force. The stories whisper of his attempts to secure this elusive immortality. Did he seek out oracles? Did he bargain with the gods? Did he delve into forbidden knowledge, searching for secrets that could cheat death? The truth remains shrouded in myth and legend, a testament to the enduring power of his quest. But one thing is clear, his yearning for immortality wasn't just a noble ambition, it was a deeply personal and profoundly human struggle. That gnawing ache, it was the rage that simmered beneath his demigod exterior. You see, Achilles wasn't just a warrior, he was a man consumed by his emotions, a volcano waiting to erupt. His anger, often misunderstood, wasn't simply uncontrolled fury, it was a powerful force, a catalyst that shaped his destiny, pushing him to extremes, both glorious and devastating. It fueled his triumphs, but it also led to his downfall. Think about it. His rage at Agamemnon, the insult over Briseis, ignited a conflict that shook the very foundations of the Achaean army. It wasn't just about the woman, it was about the principle of honor, the respect due to a hero of his caliber. That furious withdrawal from battle, the devastating impact on the Achaean forces, it highlighted the potent destructive power of his anger, a power that could topple even kings. But even in its destructive capacity, his anger served a purpose. It forced those around him, particularly Agamemnon, to confront their own flaws and weaknesses. His refusal to fight, his withdrawal from the glory, created a vacuum, a stark reminder of his irreplaceable value. It ultimately pushed the Achaeans to reconsider their actions, their priorities, and their respect for the mighty warrior who held their fate in his hands, even in his fury. You saw the aftermath of his rage, the city reduced to ashes, the screams of the dying echoing in your ears. This wasn't glory, this was the brutal cost of war. The blood-soaked earth clung to Achilles' sandals, a grim reminder of his power, a power that left devastation in its wake. Each fallen soldier was a life extinguished, a family torn apart, a future stolen. The victory felt hollow, tainted by the sheer scale of loss. The cries of the wounded pierced the air, a constant agonizing symphony of pain. You watched as men, once proud warriors, now lay broken and bleeding, their bodies ravaged by the violence of battle. Even the air itself seemed heavy with the scent of death and decay. The spoils of war, the gleaming bronze, the captured livestock, felt insignificant compared to the human cost. The silence that followed the battle was even more unnerving than the chaos. A heavy silence broken only by the occasional groan of a dying man or the mournful cry of a bird circling overhead. You felt the weight of it, the weight of all the lives lost, the weight of the destruction wrought by human hands. This was the true face of war, stripped bare of any romanticized notions of glory. You saw the raw grief etched onto Achilles' face, a stark contrast to the fury you witnessed moments before. The blood had barely begun to dry on the earth when he cradled Patroclus, his closest friend, his brother in arms. Their bond, forged in the fires of shared youth and countless battles, was a legend whispered on the wind, a love story as fierce and enduring as the gods themselves. This wasn't just a comrade, this was a part of his very soul. Remember those early days? You saw them training together, their laughter echoing across the plains, their skill with the sword inseparable from their bond. Patroclus, the quiet strength, the steady hand, the unwavering loyalty that mirrored Achilles' own fierce devotion. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole, their fates entwined like the olive branches in a sacred grove. Their friendship wasn't just about shared battles and victories. It was a deep, profound connection that transcended the ordinary. It was a bond built on trust, mutual respect, and a shared understanding that went beyond words. It was the kind of friendship that legends are made of, the kind that could move mountains, or in this case, bring a warrior to his knees in unbearable sorrow. The loss of Patroclus was a wound that would never truly heal. You see, for Achilles, the death of Patroclus wasn't just a loss. It was a shattering of the warrior's code. Honor in his world wasn't just about glory on the battlefield. It was about protecting your friends, your family, your honor. Patroclus's death was a stain on that honor, a shameful violation of the bonds of brotherhood that were sacred in Bronze Age Greece. It ignited a fire in him, a righteous fury fueled by grief and a burning desire for vengeance. The shame wasn't just his own. It extended to the entire Myrmidon army. Their leader, their protector, lay slain, and this created a deep sense of collective dishonor and a desperate need to right the wrong. This wasn't just about personal revenge. It was about restoring the balance, about proving their worth, their loyalty to their fallen comrade, and reaffirming their place within the complex social hierarchy of the warrior culture. This fierce sense of honor and shame drove Achilles' actions. He wasn't just fueled by emotion. He was driven by a profound understanding of the warrior's code, a code that dictated not only how battles were fought, but also how lives were lived and how loss was mourned. The weight of this code, the deep-seated cultural expectations, the need to restore balance, all fueled his vengeful pursuit of Hector. You'll see how these deep-seated values shaped his destiny. You see, the weight of prophecy hung heavy on Achilles. The whispers of his inevitable fate, a short, glorious life ending in Troy, gnawed at him. It wasn't just the fear of death, but the feeling of powerlessness, of being a pawn in a game orchestrated by the gods. He longed for control, for a life where his choices truly mattered, not just a predetermined script played out on a grand, tragic stage. He tried to defy it, you know. He sought glory, not for the sake of destiny, but to forge his own legend, to prove that even a mortal could shape their narrative amidst the whims of the gods. Every victory, every enemy slain, was a small rebellion against the inevitable. Each act was a desperate attempt to rewrite his ending, to carve out a space for free will within the confines of fate. But the closer he got to Troy, the more inescapable his fate felt. The prophecies, once a distant hum, became a deafening roar, each battle a step closer to the final tragic act. The weight of his destiny, the knowledge of his impending doom, was a constant companion, a shadow that followed him even in moments of triumph. Could he truly escape what was written in the stars? You see, his power wasn't just about brute strength or unmatched skill with a spear. It was about something far more profound. Think about it. Achilles' very existence, his legend, shaped the actions of kings and warriors. His presence, even the whisper of his name, could sway the course of battles, inspire unwavering loyalty, or instill paralyzing fear in his enemies. That's the true weight of a hero, isn't it? His influence extended beyond the battlefield. His very presence inspired poets and bards, shaping the stories that would be sung for generations. These tales, passed down through the ages, cemented his place not just in history, but in the collective consciousness of the people. He became a symbol, an ideal, a measure against which all other warriors were judged, and even in death, his legend continued to grow, fueling the Trojan War itself. That's the essence of his power, you see. Not just the ability to conquer, but the ability to inspire, to influence, to shape the very narrative of history itself. It's a power far more enduring than any physical strength, a legacy that continues to resonate even thousands of years later. His story isn't just a tale of war, it's a testament to the lasting impact of a truly heroic figure, a force that transcended time. You see, Achilles' life wasn't just battles and glory. He loved deeply, a love as fierce and passionate as his fighting spirit. Briseis, a beautiful captive woman, became his cherished companion, a source of comfort in the brutal world of war. Their connection, forged in the midst of conflict, was a testament to the human need for intimacy and solace, even amidst the carnage. But their love was tragically short-lived. The theft of Briseis by Agamemnon, a deeply personal and devastating act, ignited Achilles' rage, a fury that shook the very foundations of the Achaean army. This loss, this betrayal, wasn't just about losing a lover, it was about the violation of his honor, his dignity, his very being. It was a wound that ran deeper than any physical injury. Imagine the pain, the profound sense of loss. It fueled his withdrawal from battle, his agonizing decision to sit out the fighting, even though he knew it meant countless more deaths. His love for Briseis and the subsequent heartbreak profoundly altered the course of the Trojan War, highlighting how personal tragedies can ripple outward and change the fate of nations. But you know, his story wasn't just human drama. The gods, those powerful, capricious beings, played a significant role in shaping Achilles' destiny. Think of Thetis, his mother, a sea nymph, pleading with Zeus and Hephaestus to grant her son invulnerability. It's a story of divine intervention, of a mother's desperate love, and a glimpse into the intricate relationship between mortals and immortals in ancient Greece. That divine protection, however, wasn't absolute. The famous Achilles' heel, his only vulnerable spot, is a testament to the limitations of even godly intervention. It was a flaw, a point of weakness, cleverly exploited by fate, and it's a reminder that even the most powerful, even those touched by the gods, are not immune to the harsh realities of mortality. Remember, the gods weren't always benevolent. Their actions were often driven by their own desires and rivalries, making them unpredictable influences in the lives of mortals. Achilles' life, filled with both triumphs and tragedies, was a direct consequence of this divine interference, a constant push and pull between human agency and the whims of the gods. It's a fascinating dance, isn't it? So you're thinking about Achilles, right? The unstoppable warrior, the hero of heroes. But beneath that legendary armor, there was a complex individual, a man wrestling with his own mortality and the weight of expectation. His rage, legendary as it was, wasn't just blind fury, it was a powerful expression of his vulnerability. Imagine the pressure, being prophesied for greatness from birth, burdened with a destiny you can't escape. His relationship with his mother Thetis was crucial. She tried to shield him from fate, but that only intensified the pressure. Think about the constant battle between his desire for glory and his fear of death, a conflict that shaped every choice he made. He was fiercely loyal to his friends, but his pride often blinded him, leading to devastating consequences. It's this internal conflict, this constant push and pull, that makes him so fascinating. You see, Achilles wasn't just a warrior, he was a man grappling with his own identity, struggling to reconcile his divine heritage with his very human flaws. His anger, his pride, his loyalty, these weren't separate traits, but facets of a deeply complex character. Understanding this psychological depth is key to truly appreciating the legend of Achilles. He wasn't simply a hero, he was a human being, flawed and magnificent in equal measure. So you've heard tales of his unmatched strength, his rage, his glory. But was Achilles truly a hero? Let's delve into the less celebrated aspects of his legend. You see, his actions often clashed with what we might consider morally upright. He was impulsive, fueled by pride and a thirst for vengeance, often leading him down paths of questionable ethics, even cruelty. Remember the wrath of Achilles, his refusal to fight after being dishonored? His actions, while understandable given the insult, left his comrades vulnerable, leading to countless deaths. Was this the act of a selfless hero, or a man consumed by his own ego? You've got to consider the consequences of his choices. The cost of his pride was high, a price paid by those who fought alongside him. Then there's the brutal slaying of Hector. While Hector was a formidable foe, Achilles' treatment of his body, dragging it around the walls of Troy, was considered by many to be a transgression. It was an act of vengeful cruelty that surpasses the bounds of honorable warfare. You might argue it was justified, but was it truly heroic? It's a question that has plagued historians and storytellers for millennia. So you've seen his raw power, but what about his strategy? Achilles wasn't just a brute force warrior, he understood the battlefield. He knew how to exploit weaknesses, choosing his targets with deadly precision. Imagine him surveying the Trojan lines, his keen eyes picking out the vulnerable points, the hesitant movements, the gaps in their defense. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a tactician. His approach wasn't always about a head-on charge. He understood the importance of timing, of choosing the right moment to strike. He'd often wait, letting the enemy tire themselves out, their formations weakening, before unleashing his fury. This calculated patience, this ability to wait for the perfect opportunity, was as crucial to his victories as his strength and skill with a spear. Think about the impact of his leadership on the Myrmidons, his loyal band of warriors. He inspired absolute loyalty and fierce fighting spirit. His tactical brilliance wasn't just about his individual prowess, but about his ability to mold his troops into a highly effective fighting force. He instilled discipline and a sense of purpose that turned them into a virtually unstoppable army. So you've journeyed through Achilles' life, from his divine birth to his tragic death. But his story doesn't end there. His legend continues to resonate, shaping art, literature, and even our understanding of heroism. Think about it. How many times have you heard the phrase Achilles' heel? It's become ingrained in our language, a testament to the enduring power of his myth. His name is synonymous with strength, vulnerability, and the complexities of human nature. From Homer's epic poems to countless retellings and reinterpretations across millennia, Achilles' tale remains a captivating exploration of mortality and glory. He's a character we can still relate to, even across such a vast gulf of time. His flaws make him relatable, his triumphs inspiring. You see, Achilles' impact isn't just historical, it's cultural. He transcends the Bronze Age, becoming a symbol constantly reimagined and reinterpreted. He embodies the enduring human fascination with heroism, tragedy, and the eternal conflict between strength and weakness. His story continues to be told, adapted, and celebrated, proving the timeless appeal of a truly unforgettable hero. So his legend lives on, doesn't it? You've seen how his story has been told and retold for millennia. Think about it. His image, his strength, his vulnerability, they've all inspired countless artists and writers, from ancient Greek pottery depicting his battles to Renaissance paintings showcasing his heroism. Achilles has constantly captivated human imagination. He's a timeless symbol, you see. Homer's Iliad, of course, is the ultimate source, but his tale has been reinterpreted countless times. You've got Shakespeare echoing his rage, and countless modern novels and plays weaving their own narratives around him. He's been a brooding anti-hero, a noble warrior, even a tragic figure of immense power and fatal flaw. Each retelling reveals something new about both Achilles and ourselves. Think about the sheer impact. His name, his story, his very essence continues to inform our understanding of heroism, mortality, and the enduring power of myth. You can still see his influence in everything from video games to blockbuster movies. He's not just a historical figure, he's a living legend, shaping our narratives and inspiring new ones even today. His story transcends time, doesn't it? So his legend lives on, doesn't it? You've heard tales of his unmatched strength, his rage, his vulnerability. But beyond the battlefield, Achilles' legacy shapes even our modern world. Think of the countless works of art inspired by him: paintings, sculptures, literature, even video games. He's become a symbol, a timeless representation of heroism, flawed yet magnificent. His story continues to resonate because it speaks to something universal within us: the struggle between our strengths and weaknesses, our glory and our mortality. Achilles' tragic flaw, his hubris, only makes his story more compelling. He reminds us that even the greatest heroes are human, capable of both extraordinary feats and devastating mistakes. He's not just a warrior, he's a complex character we can still relate to thousands of years later. And that's the enduring power of Achilles' legacy. He's not just a figure from history, he's a mirror reflecting our own human experiences. He embodies the contradictions inherent in the human spirit, showcasing both our capacity for greatness and our susceptibility to flaws. He's a reminder that even in the face of inevitable tragedy, our stories and the stories of those who came before us live on, shaping the world we inhabit today. What do you think makes his story so enduring? So you've journeyed through Achilles' life, from his divine birth to his tragic death. But his story doesn't end there. His legend continues to resonate, inspiring artists, writers, and filmmakers even today. Think about how many times you've seen him depicted in movies, books, or video games, a testament to his enduring power. Modern interpretations often explore the complexities of his character, moving beyond the simplistic hero narrative. You'll find portrayals that emphasize his vulnerability, his rage, and the moral ambiguities of his choices. It's a fascinating exploration of a character who is both god and man, hero and villain. Sometimes, you see him reframed as a symbol of the destructive nature of war, a cautionary tale about the cost of glory. Other times, he becomes a representation of unwavering loyalty, even in the face of impossible odds. The interpretations are as varied as the people who tell his story. Ultimately, Achilles' enduring appeal lies in his multifaceted nature. He's a character you can continuously reinterpret and reimagine, fitting him into the context of your own understanding of heroism, morality, and the human condition. He's not just a figure from the past, he's a mirror reflecting our own ongoing struggles. So you've heard the tales of his incredible strength and rage, but what about the unanswered questions that still haunt his legend? Did he truly die at Troy, or did he escape to some hidden island, as some whispers suggest? You've seen his prowess in battle, but what drove him? Was it glory, or something darker, something rooted in his divine heritage and the prophecy that shadowed his life? And what about his relationship with Patroclus? Their bond, fierce and unwavering, remains one of the most compelling and enigmatic aspects of his story. Was it a purely platonic friendship, a deep brotherhood forged in the heat of battle, or something more profound, a love story lost to the ages? History offers clues, but the truth remains tantalizingly elusive, a mystery that continues to fuel debate among scholars and enthusiasts. You've witnessed his rage, his strength, his vulnerability, but what about the man behind the legend? What were his hopes, his dreams, his fears? The historical record, fragmented and often contradictory, leaves much to the imagination. Did he ever yearn for a life beyond the battlefield, a life of peace and quiet, far from the relentless cycle of war and bloodshed? These are the questions that continue to captivate us, centuries after his death. So you've wondered about those whispers, haven't you? The ones that paint a different picture of Achilles than the glorious warrior you know. These aren't just myths, friend. They're echoes of a man wrestling with his own mortality, his own destiny. Some say his rage wasn't just born on the battlefield, but simmered within him since childhood, a consequence of his unique upbringing. Imagine the weight of prophecy hanging over you from birth, the knowledge that your life is a predetermined path towards a tragic end. Others suggest a hidden vulnerability, a soft side concealed beneath layers of armor and glory. Perhaps his relentless pursuit of honor wasn't just about glory, but a desperate attempt to control his fate, to defy the gods' decree. Think about it. The rage, the ferocity, could they have been a shield, a way to avoid facing the inevitable heartache his own short life promised? This wasn't just about fighting, this was about survival, a fight against the very fabric of his existence. And then there's the mystery of his death. You've heard the tale of Paris's arrow, but some whispers hint at a more intricate plot, a betrayal perhaps, a conspiracy woven within the very fabric of the Trojan War. Was it simply fate, or was there a hidden hand manipulating events, ensuring the fall of this legendary warrior? These hidden truths, buried beneath layers of myth and legend, offer a more complex, more human view of Achilles, a hero grappling with his own mortality, his own destiny, and the secrets that haunted him until his last breath. So you've heard the tales, the whispers of a demigod's flaws. But how much is truth, and how much is the embellishment of bards and storytellers? Let's sift through the legends, separating the man from the myth. Think of it like this. You've got the glittering image of the invincible warrior, the hero of countless songs, but underneath that polished surface, there's a complex individual. What really made Achilles, Achilles? The Iliad, that epic poem, paints a vivid picture. But remember, it's a story, not a biography. Homer, the legendary poet, shaped the narrative, emphasizing certain aspects to create a compelling tale. He focused on the rage, the fury, the conflict, but what about the quiet moments, the doubts, the vulnerabilities? These are often overlooked, lost in the shadow of his legendary feats, think of the human side of this immortal hero. We need to consider the historical context. The Bronze Age was a world of fierce competition, tribal warfare, and shifting alliances. Achilles, a powerful warrior, was undoubtedly a product of his time. His actions, viewed through a modern lens, might seem brutal or unforgiving, but within the context of his society, they might have been considered perfectly acceptable, even expected. Understanding his world is key to understanding him. So you're wondering why, millennia later, we still talk about Achilles. It's not just the epic battles, the rage, the impossible strength. It's the human element, you see. Achilles, despite his godlike abilities, was profoundly flawed. He was capable of both incredible acts of heroism and devastating acts of cruelty. This duality, this relatable imperfection, makes him endlessly fascinating. He represents the complex nature of humanity, a blend of light and shadow. His vulnerability, his grief over Patroclus' death, his rage that fueled the Trojan War, these are the things that resonate with us even now. We see ourselves in his struggles, in his triumphs, and in his ultimate downfall. He's a reminder that even the mightiest heroes are susceptible to human emotions and weaknesses. He's a testament to the enduring power of love, loss, and the complexities of the human spirit. Achilles' story is a timeless narrative about the human condition. It's a story about ambition, glory, and the price one pays for pursuing them. It's a story about friendship, loyalty, and the devastating consequences of betrayal. It's a story that transcends time and culture, reminding us of the enduring power of myth and the timeless struggle between our strengths and weaknesses. He's a character you can't help but be drawn to, even if you find yourself disliking some of his choices. So you've journeyed through the epic life of Achilles, the rage, the glory, the tragic end. But tonight, let's focus on something different. Let's focus on the peace within the storm, the quiet strength that fueled his legendary feats. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing on the shores of ancient Greece, the salty air filling your lungs, the waves whispering secrets of the past. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, the cool sand between your toes. Imagine the sound of distant lyre music, a gentle lullaby carried on the breeze. This is your moment of quiet reflection, a time to connect with the hero within, the strength, resilience, and unwavering spirit that lies dormant within you, waiting to be awakened. You too possess an inner strength, a capacity for greatness. Maybe it's not on the battlefield, but in your daily life, the courage to face challenges, the determination to pursue your dreams, the compassion to help others. Let the spirit of Achilles inspire you, not just with his power, but with his humanity. Embrace the hero within, and let this peaceful feeling guide your dreams. So that's the story of Achilles. If you enjoyed this journey through his life, hit that like button and subscribe for more epic historical deep dives. What are your thoughts on his legacy? Let me know in the comments.